most, listening to nutrition talk is like watching paint dry. And I get it. It's confusing, it's convoluted, and for some, pretty boring. But understanding how your body uses fuels is very important when it comes to how well you perform.
And it's really not that bad, because if you find yourself running out of energy, losing fuel on the track, you find yourself getting kind of tired, well, this might be the place that you want to begin looking anyway. What's up, everybody? I'm Mitch. I am a certified trainer and I am the Fit for Moto guy. Now in this video, I'm going to give you a really basic understanding of nutrition, and more specifically, how your body uses fuels and why it uses them when it does, just so that you can have some basic knowledge, because it's actually a really important thing to know, and I think it's going to help you when you have kind of that simple understanding of it. So if you don't already have it, grab some recovery protein from the link below, get it together, roll the intro, and let's get to learning.
So, keeping it really simple, everything you eat is made up of basically three things: proteins, carbs, and fats, or AKA macros. And depending on what type of activity you're doing, your body will choose one of those three for its ideal fuel source. Typically, your body leaves its protein alone, as protein is primarily used for recovery and repair. Unless you're in a state of malnutrition, then it will use whatever it can, and if it has to be protein and there's no other source available, well, so be it. But we're not going to get into that malnutrition talk in this video. This is just basic. But for most people, most of the time, your body likes to either use carbohydrates or the fats for fuel. But it's not all willy-nilly on which one it chooses. There is a method to the madness. For example, periods of longer duration, lower intensity exercise like road cycling, your body likes to use fat as a fuel source.
And it does that because fats take longer to convert to a fuel, and it uses more oxygen to do that conversion. So that means lowering your exercise intensity. And a lot of times if you're doing some sprints or something that requires a lot of fast energy, the fat's not even going to be ready yet. So fats are better for the lower intensity, longer duration type of things, like a marathon or something like that. Something that's going to be really quite drawn out, where your body doesn't use all the O2 to prep the fuel, and it actually has time to convert that as well. Which brings us to carbohydrates.
When it comes to intense exercise, your body really likes to use carbohydrates, which are stored as something called glycogen. Now, this is the preferred source of energy for most cells. And it uses these because of the fast availability of them to be converted to fuel for intense bouts of exercise. They're really more of an on-demand type of fuel for us. So for intense bouts of exercise like sprints, or an example of like a race type event, your body will likely use carbs, at least for the initial portion when the intensity is really high, simply because it's more available, it's easier to use, and it's preferred choice.
Now, like all things in life, it's not that simple. It's not black or white, it's not one or the other. It's a gray area, which brings me to the respiratory exchange ratio. Join me over here. Okay, the respiratory exchange ratio, or RER. Now, you don't really have to remember the term. It's more the function of it that's an important thing for you. So if you consider your exercise intensity or your caloric expenditure or how your body uses fuels, consider that on a scale of 0% up to 100%. Now, 0% being totally at rest. So you're on the couch watching TV, you're Netflixing and chilling, whatever that may be. Hey, maybe you're watching YouTube videos. That's at rest too. Now, so let's just call that rest, okay? The 100% is going to be your maximum exertion. So, you know, your VO2 max, like when you absolutely sprint your hardest, your heart rate is at its highest point. So, you know, for most people that's a little different, but let's say for the sake of argument that it's your 100%, your full exertion, your heart rate is at, let's say 180 beats per minute, yeah? Now on here, this is called the respiratory exchange rate. This is a scale. So at 0%, at total rest, your body wants to use fat for fuel, okay, at 0%. Its primary fuel source is fat. As you come up to your 100%, your body wants to use the delicious, always available carbs for fuel, okay? Anywhere in here, if you're at, say, 50% of your total exertion, so you know, if your heart rate's at 50%, so, you know, whatever, 120 beats per minute, 120 or 30 beats per minute, something like that, your body's going to be using a combination 50% carbs and 50% fat at this point. So like I said, it's not a one or the other. Your body will adjust what it's using all along the way as your exertion, as your heart rate and all that stuff begins to rise. So your body will recognize, hey, my heart rate's coming up, it's getting higher and higher and higher. There's not as much fat available for me to use as a fuel. I need to start burning the carbs. I need to start burning something that's like glycogen, that's a quick acting, quick fuel source to give me the energy that I need now. Now your body stores glycogen, which is just carbohydrates, as a fuel source as needed. It has a certain amount that it can deplete during sprints and intense exercise. And then when you eat some carbs, it will refill that level, it will refill your glycogen to give you more of that instant energy. Fat is a totally different thing. Your body wants to use fat in a totally different manner. Now, it will use either one depending on where you're at in your diet. That's a whole other conversation that's way beyond the basic stuff that I'm trying to tell you right now. So that's the respiratory exchange ratio. Depending on where your heart rate is, it's going to use different things for fuel. So if you're going on a long road bike ride, you might want to put a few more fats in your diet. If you're doing some hardcore sprinting or some high intensity interval training, which we're gonna get some workouts here and some videos and I'll show you some stuff, your body's gonna want more carbs for fuel. Makes sense, right? Okay, so how would you know if you need one or the other? What would excess or deficiency cause? Well, excess fat, excess calories we know gets stored as body fat. And that's really your body's, honestly, your body's way of just storing extra energy in case you need it, because it says, I don't need to use it all right now. I'm gonna hang on to some of it in case I need to get at it later. That's why people gain the weight that they do. So if you're deficient in some of it, you may be tired, you may be sluggish, you might not sleep well, you might not have the endurance to go on those long rides, that kind of thing. Carbohydrates are the same way, and excess will lead to weight gain. If you're deficient, you're gonna find that you're tired, you don't have the energy. Carbs are a totally different thing, which I'll get into another video in terms of like ketosis, and there's all kinds of stuff I can get into, but you know, your memory might be kind of foggy, all kinds of stuff if you're deficient in that. So if you find that you're feeling some of those things, well, maybe try and make an adjustment if you're exercising a lot because you don't want that excess. And if you have the excess and you are putting on weight, you might want to dial those back a little bit because your body's not using all the fuel that you have available to it. Makes sense, right?
So if you feel sluggish on a longer duration, lower intensity things like road cycling, you might want to increase your fat levels a little bit. Maybe it just doesn't have enough of that lower intensity, long duration fuel. And if you feel like you don't have the stamina to do a high intensity, short duration type of thing, like say for example a motocross race, you may want to look towards some more carbohydrates in your diet to give you the extra burst of energy that you need initially.
So there you have it, in the most basic way. Not that difficult. Right now, again, this is really, really basic stuff. I wanted to give you an idea of how your body uses carbs and fats for different fuels with the respiratory exchange ratio, because then maybe you have a better idea on how to fuel for a race day or something like that. And if you don't, if you're still a little bit confused, I do have a free ebook that's loaded with nutritional stuff that's in basic terms that's going to help you understand, help you fuel properly for race day, for preparation, all that kind of stuff that's completely free. I'll put a link below on how you can get your hands on that along with the programs that I made as well. Now they're 12-week, 5-phase programs. Like this is a legit program that people have paid me thousands of dollars for. It's totally free. I'm gonna leave a link for that as well. And don't forget to get some protein, some pre-workout, some hydration, some greens from the link below. Same stuff that I use. It helps me so that I can do 56 laps on my bike and I'm not that tired. If you want to learn how to do that, hit the links below. You know I appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button for me. I appreciate that just the same. I hope to see you guys out there. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Let's do this.